Good evening from Washington, D.C., and thank you to those of you joining us from around the world for news from a Catholic perspective. I'm Lauren Ashburn. President Trump launches what he's calling a big week for infrastructure. Today, he unveiled his $1.5 trillion proposal to rebuild American roads and highways. White House correspondent Mark Irons reports. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Lauren. The president says U.S. infrastructure is crumbling, and with a play on words, he said Washington no longer will be a roadblock to progress. Today, the White House is revealing what that progress will cost.
This morning, I submitted legislative principles to Congress that will spur the biggest and boldest infrastructure investment in American history.
President Trump continues on the road he first paved on the campaign trail, a call for more investment in the U.S. He says spending $7 trillion on wars in the Middle East was a mistake.
We're trying to build roads and bridges and fix bridges that are falling down, and we have a hard time getting the money. It's crazy.
His plan to restore the roadways calls for $1.5 trillion total, but relies heavily on infrastructure investment from local, state, and tribal governments, as well as private companies. $200 billion in federal funds would be spent.
The vast majority of Americans want to see us take care of our infrastructure.
The president calls it a common sense and bipartisan plan that every member of Congress should support. But it's not convincing Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The Democrat from New York says the president's infrastructure proposal would do very little to make our ailing infrastructure better, but it would put unsustainable burdens on our local government and lead to Trump tolls all over the country. The White House budget for 2019 was also unveiled and unpacked today on Capitol Hill. It represents a $4 trillion wish list of spending. Though thick with pages, it doesn't carry much weight. That's because last week, Congress passed its own two-year budget framework, a rare deal that got the president's signature and Senator Schumer's approval.
It's a significant achievement, a genuine bipartisan breakthrough.
Schumer and the other lawmakers on Capitol Hill now have the chance to see all the specifics of the president's infrastructure priorities in a 55-page legislative outline that the Trump administration has released as Congress attempts to craft a bill. Lauren.
Mark, how soon could we actually see new roads and bridges?
Well, the president says he wants to speed up the approval process so that projects can get the green light in less than 2 years, maybe even less than a year. But again, you can't get there until Congress passes a bill.
If. White House correspondent Mark Irons. Thank you, Mark.